In episode 25, I'm joined by Gastonia Senior Sales Manager Chris Ballard. He just turned 26, so enjoy Ballard's birthday bash. Our guest today is from Detroit, Michigan, attended the University of South Carolina, a die-hard Tigers fan, currently the Senior Sales Manager for the Gastonia Ghost Peppers. I know a guy, and his name is Chris Ballard. Chris, how's it going?
It's going good, Noah. Thanks for having me on.
Of course, thanks for coming on. Chris, you turned 26 years old today. Happy birthday.
Thank you. We're excited to get off the parents' health insurance today, so we're ready to go.
There you go. You're all set. All set. Should I sing or not?
Nah, we'll save that for another day.
Okay. Any plans tonight? Any plans this weekend?
Yeah, just grabbing some dinner with some friends, and then just hanging out at the house today. Tomorrow, heading up to Raleigh. I got some friends up there that have a birthday on Sunday, so doing a little joint birthday thing. Should be a good time.
There you go. Do you feel 26?
Not yet. I think one day we'll get there. Hopefully, probably closer to the season starting is probably when we'll actually feel it. Right now, it's just another day.
How do you feel? How old do you feel?
I mean, I feel like I'm about 50 at this point, but
Old soul?
Let's try to be.
Chris, when you were much younger, roughly 10 years ago, you became an umpire. You umped for 5 years. What was that experience like?
Umpiring was awesome. I would do as small as 8 years old up through high school, and we would just go, and I loved being behind the plate. I was a catcher when I played ball, so it just made a lot of sense to get into the umpiring game. One of my biggest mentors growing up was actually my umpire growing in travel baseball. So when he reached out to me to be a part of that, I was like, yeah, let's do it. And I did it through college, through high school. A lot of fun. Really enjoyed it.
Did you gain more of an appreciation for umpires in professional baseball? Because, of course, fans like to get on them a lot. Hecklers at games, so
definitely. I've had my share of parents not too happy with some calls that I've made, so I definitely do have an appreciation, and I have definitely shown that I don't really get on the umpires like I would when I played, because again, you showed that appreciation and knowing what that job is like. So I am all pro umpire.
Chris, you were a baseball operations assistant in 2019 and 2020 for Ripken Baseball in South Carolina. What responsibilities did you have when it came to baseball ops?
Yeah, so the Ripken experience down in Myrtle Beach, it's a baseball youth complex tournament place. Funny enough, it's actually where I met Brady when we got started there. But we would go and be in the press box, be basically the tournament official for the different games. So setting up walk-up music, announcing the players that they're coming up to bat, keeping box scores. And then on Sundays, they would do their big welcome in. So we would do the home run derby with the kids. We would have some fun with the different appreciation moments as people are coming into the park and making sure that they feel nice and welcome. So it was a lot of fun. I actually did it 2 different summers and really met a lot of really good people through that.
You said that's how you met Brady. How important was that rapport with Brady when it came to choosing to work here?
It was honestly the most important thing for me. Seeing the success that he's had with this team just made it that much more attractive to be a part of. And having somebody that I've known for so long in that space has been awesome. We always talked about getting to work together down the line, so actually seeing it happen is pretty cool.
Now, you've always been a big baseball guy, Chris, a die-hard Detroit Tigers fan. I have some Tigers trivia for you.
All right, let's do it. Hit me.
All right. So, first one's a bit tough. What was the Tigers' record over the final 42 games of this past season? So 42 games.
I know it was good.
Definitely good.
I watched a good bit of it. Those mid-afternoon games, they are basically unbeatable. I mean, my guess is 30-12.
31-11.
We're close.
Almost. Very close.
All right.
Very
fair
close.
enough.
I'll give it to you. Can you name 3 players who have played for both Gastonia and the Tigers?
Now, are you talking major league experience?
Major league experience with the Tigers.
So I know Jacob Robson from last year.
That's correct.
Was definitely on there, and I believe in 2019. Brian Sammons this past year. it was actually really funny. I was listening to the broadcast, and Jason Benetti just came out and said, "Oh, he's coming from Gastonia." I looked up, I was like, "Oh."
That is correct.
Third one.
You got 2. Third one might be tough because it was...
I know De La Rosa was in the system. I don't think I have the third. Zach Godley.
Zach Godley did not pitch for the Tigers.
Darn. That was my stretch guess. I couldn't tell you the rest of them.
All right. Well, and the answer you left off was Steven Moya. Could have went Moya, big lefty slugger.
Yeah, right field. Yep. Yeah, I didn't even think about him.
When he was here in 2023, he almost did a home run every single game, it seemed like.
That sounds about right.
Launch him the other way.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, yeah, the 3 I had, Moya, Sammons, Robson, you got 2 of them.
Hey, we'll take it.
Yeah, all right. Last question. The Tigers, of course, had an elite rotation 2012 through 2014. In that 2014 season, could you name that starting 5 rotation that was so elite?
So we got Verlander.
Yep, he's the 1.
Scherzer.
He's the 3.
David Price.
The 2.
Rick Porcello.
The 5.
And I want to say he led the league in ERA that year, Anibal Sanchez.
He's the 4.
There we go.
Job well done.
Thank you.
Job well done. But sorry to say, all of them ended up winning a World Series within 5 years of that season.
Yes, they did. Unfortunately, not with my Tigers, but we're on the up and up right now. I'm super, super excited to see that young core, and AJ Hinch is an absolutely incredible manager. I've followed him since playing with the Astros. He's a great mind, and I'm really excited to see what comes in the future with the Tigers. We've got an incredible young core, super exciting baseball. So we're looking forward to the 2025 year for them for sure.
And I'm sure it excites you personally, right? Seeing somebody like Jacob Robson playing for Gastonia, an organization you work for. I know you were very giddy when he came to the team.
Yes. So I actually have a funny story about that. When I first got into Gastonia, I went over to the Luray Mill gym, and I was wearing a Andrew Chafin Tigers jersey. And I was just walking around the gym, getting to know the area a little bit. And this gentleman comes up to me and he says, "Are you wearing a Tigers jersey?" And I said, "Yeah." And he said that he played for them. And I looked at him, and I was kind of knew what the roster looked like here. So I said, "You're Jacob Robson." And he said, yes. And ever since then, we were pretty well connected throughout the season. It was awesome seeing him get in and really make an impact for Gastonia at the end of that season this past year. It was awesome to see.
That it was. Chris, you were a sales intern in 2021 with the United Shore Pro Baseball League. What was it that drove you to work in sales?
So for me, I know for sales and to be successful in sales, you really need to have a strong work ethic and a positive attitude. I believe I really showcased those 2 things very well. And a lot through school, they always would tell me like, hey, you're not here to become a sports agent. You're not here to, do Moneyball and be the general manager side. They teach you the front office work. And one of the most important things on the front office side is your sales team. So for me, wanting to be involved in sport and baseball in particularly, the playing didn't necessarily correlate for me out of high school, but I wanted to know that I made sure that I was staying involved, and sales was really that number one thing that drove me to that. I learned I was pretty decent at it, so I just kept at it, and it all started at USPBL. It was an awesome springtime. It was right as COVID was going on, so we were making different seating outlines for the 6 feet apart and helping set up their group flyers and just making sure that everything organizationally made sense. And I learned a ton from their vice president of sales. His name is Dan Griesbaum. He is still to this day one of my biggest mentors.
You then became an account executive at Charlotte FC 2021 until 24, right before you started working here. How crucial was that experience for you to be part of an MLS team to get to where you are right now?
It was critical. When I joined with Charlotte FC, it was before their first game. So we were in a very big startup mentality, and we had an incredible team, probably about 20 sales reps, when we were just all learning how to get through and make things happen on the sports sales world. And the mentors, the people that I met through Charlotte FC are all still very close with me today. We would like to always try to get together and make sure that we're all staying on top of each other. Now, years later, there's a lot of us in different areas and managing different teams. So I have a nice connection and a network where if, say I need help with creating a group initiative, then I've got a lot of different resources to make sure that it'll happen. And on top of that, knowing that we were just starting this baseball team up, so having that experience of starting the soccer team, I was able to come in here and really showcase that we know how to start up a sports organization. So it was super exciting. I'm so thankful for all the opportunities I was given at FC, and all of those lessons I tried to bring here and make happen. So,
Chris, we have a segment on this podcast called Cool Connections. Any connections you've made along the way throughout your journey, whether they're household names or not. I know you've had a few run-ins with David Tepper with Charlotte FC, whether it's him or somebody else. Who's really a cool connection that you've made along the way?
So a really cool one, when we were at our company Christmas party a couple years back, there was basically set up like a casino, and at one of the tables I sat down, and Derek Brown, the starting defensive tackle for the Panthers, and Andy Dalton was at the table with me, which was really cool, just being able to be in that presence. Even with Gastonia here in baseball, just being able to meet with those different city officials and getting to know the larger players in the area and getting to know the history of this area has been awesome to learn about and get to know. In terms of other like larger names, some of the Charlotte FC players I definitely have a decent connection with, one of which is George Marks. He was a goalie for us. He played at Clemson, and we always would, whenever we do like a meet the team event or something like that, I'd always be at his station. We'd always talk about playing FIFA and having some fun there. So definitely there. But then on top of that, just all of the different executives that I've met through just connecting on LinkedIn or jumping on video calls from different teams around the country, getting to know how their success and how we can apply that here has been incredible. One of the big members in one of my old jobs, I used to work at the University of Toledo, is a gentleman named Tony Garrett. He's a senior vice president of sales for the Aspire group. It's called Playfly Sports. And he was somebody that was very, very influential for me as I was starting my career. He was able to show me how the NBA would leverage group sales when they just started their initiatives in the early 2000s. So being able to collect all of that information and get to know these different people in the whole business of sports has been incredible. And if anybody's looking to get into this career, I definitely recommend just connecting and networking as much as you can, because you never know when you're going to have those opportunities to speak with those people, and you never know when those things could come up. I mean, I feel like all the time when I'm thinking through of different plans for the year or having conversations, I always pick up on little nuances and things from other people to help me out. So it's been a wild ride.
Definitely has been. Chris, let's continue on that ride. After Charlotte FC, you came here. You were the ticket sales and services manager for 8 months. You recently became the senior sales manager in October. What's been the difference in those positions?
So the differences between the two, when I came in, it was a lot more entry level, asking my bosses for a lot of help in different aspects of the business and just really getting my feet down and learning how to manage people. Through the season, I would gain more and more responsibilities, and towards the end of the year when the promotion came, really the biggest change was helping out more with the training of the different sales reps that we have here. So making sure that they have their game plans set, running through their schedules, making sure that they know exactly what is expected of them, but also when they need help, they know that instead of having to go to, whomever, they can come right to me, and I keep my door wide open whenever they need some help. So really just that added responsibility and that added training aspect to helping the reps be the best they can.
How do you manage the account executives while also focusing on making sales yourself?
So it's definitely a lot of time management. So a lot of things that I do is I'll like set blocks aside on my calendar where it's like, hey, this is my time. I need to go and make my outreach. Typically that's when my door is closed. I'll do that for an hour or two throughout the day. And then when they need help, typically they'll either knock on the door, come right in the office, or shoot me like a little Microsoft Teams message letting me know something that they need some help with. For me, the most important thing is making sure that they are as prepared as possible when they're going into a conversation or they're talking to somebody about tickets. So it's definitely a little bit more than a 9 to 5. I spend a lot of time outside of that realm for myself to be able to have conversations on making my own sales. During the day, a lot more time is focused on helping these guys become the best that they can be.
Does being knowledgeable about sports, and I guess baseball specifically, help out in your everyday sales?
It's a double-edged sword. I would say yes and no. The reason I say no is when I started with Charlotte FC, I knew nothing about soccer. I came in, I couldn't even tell you the difference between a football field and a soccer pitch, even though there are so many differences in how large it is, where the posts are set up, things along those lines. But now being in baseball and a sport that I've played for basically my whole life and been a part of, it helps a little bit, especially like if I know somebody's favorite team in Major League Baseball, and then I can start name dropping some of the most notable guys. That helps to build that relationship and that trust from a sales perspective. But typically in the sports sales world, you don't have to have the knowledge of the actual sport, but it definitely helps when you're creating relationships and just trying to get to know somebody better.
Working in soccer, working in baseball, what's been the biggest difference?
The biggest difference is the amount of games. We play 18 in the soccer season compared to 63 for the Atlantic League season. That was definitely the biggest, what's the word? That's the way I would put it. I guess the biggest
juxtaposition?
Yes. Yeah. The biggest juxtaposition definitely has been the amount of games that we've played. It's definitely I don't want to say struggle, but a change. And I prefer the game day over the normal day just because there's people in the park. There's a lot of energy going on. So that's what I've come to love is the amount of games. Yes, I'm, here until 11 o'clock midnight some nights and coming in real early, but it makes it all worth it when I can look in the crowd and I can see somebody cheering for a big home run. It makes it super, super exciting for me.
Now, Chris, you had a really cool experience a couple months ago. You went to Tahoe to help out with the Night Monsters, another team that Zoyer owns. Is it a benefit for you that you're able to help out with other teams among Zoyer Sports and Entertainment?
Absolutely. It's all about reps in the world of sports. So every opportunity that somebody can get to lend a hand elsewhere and really expand your reach is going to be helpful. I also have done some things with the Checkers over down in Charlotte. I know they had the Stanley Cup about a month ago, and being a part of that experience and helping run that event to make sure it was as smooth as it could go just adds to the resume and makes you that much more of a 5-tool athlete, to say. So you can, whenever something needs to be done, you can jump right in and help where you need to be done. And being up in Tahoe was awesome. That was my first time on the West Coast, and it was absolutely gorgeous. I will never forget it. And being able to see the sold out crowd and the excitement behind that opening weekend brought me back to opening day last year with Gastonia. It brought me back to that first game with Charlotte FC, and being able just to see the excitement on everybody's face. That's what I live for.
Has it helped in terms of making connections also elsewhere in the industry?
Absolutely, yes. It's cool because now I feel like I can talk to people that have worked in hockey and understand their day-to-day operation. Whereas obviously I work in baseball, so I know that day to day. I worked in soccer, I know that day to day. And for the most part, they're pretty similar. In the world of sports sales, it's not necessarily a one size fits all, but it's the same type of day-to-day work with a couple little changes based on the sport. But being able to actually see how it goes in on a game day, like the preparation that needs to happen on the hockey side compared to the preparation for baseball, there's definitely some differences. And being able to see that and experience it is invaluable.
Now, Chris, you certainly had your work cut out for you during your time with Gastonia. What are the challenges of making sales while a team is rebranding twice? Because, of course, they went from Honey Hunters to Baseball Club to Ghost Peppers. What do those challenges look like for you?
Well, it's funny. When we were going through the what if names last year, when we would call somebody and say that we're with the Gastonia Baseball Club, sometimes people wouldn't necessarily make that immediate connection because like they just saw the Gastronauts play and they were like, what's this baseball team? This is this club. So every time that those new what if weekends would come around, it felt like we had a completely different identity, which was really, really cool. It made it for a nice challenge to be able to show people and kind of guide them along the way to say, hey, it's all the same thing. We're all the same people. We're just making this new brand. And that's why I'm so excited for the Ghost Peppers. It's its own brand. It's all by itself now. Moving forward, we are going to be known as the Gastonia Ghost Peppers for the long haul. So it's going to be a lot easier now for us to really establish that brand because it's going to stay consistent with the video board on the outfield wall and the messaging online and the social medias. It's all going to be the same. So that's what I'm super excited about. Getting just to let people know that, hey, we're the same people from last year. It's been funny because people like usually will be around and try to figure out what exactly is going on with the different teams and such. So to let people know it's all the same, it makes people feel a lot better about what's going on. There's not as much change happening.
What have you been doing to prepare for the 2025 season? What are your responsibilities, priorities right now?
So right now we're just all steam ahead, trying to fill this park as much as we can. I know that opening weekend is, I want to say it's 98 days away. So right now it's just a matter of reaching as many people as we can, getting the schools involved, getting the youth sports programs involved, talking through with different companies and getting some big outings for their employees and just setting those things up and creating those different group experiences, like figuring out who's going to sing our national anthems, who's going to throw out our first pitches, who's going to be in our picnic area with a big buffet coming up soon. That's the bulk of it. A couple of other things that I've been up to is working with our leadership team on finishing up our theme nights and our promotional calendars, and then also working alongside our partners to make sure that they're excited for the season, making sure that we're on top of everything for them so they know what to expect as the season's getting ready to kick off. We're super excited. Partners are excited. Ticket holders are excited. So sounds like we're doing a good job.
You're able to do all that while really your mind's on the lines the whole time, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. The Lions are a major part of my life. I'm all Detroit sports diehard. And seeing the success from Dan Campbell and over the last 4 years, that continual improvement has been awesome to see. I actually take a lot of inspiration from his post-game interviews, like when they do a big social media post and they'll talk about Dan and the team and all that. I take a lot of inspiration from that, and I try to bring that energy here. So seeing the Lions has been incredible. I'm super excited about this game tomorrow night.
1 seed for the first time in Lions franchise history. Like you said, they play tomorrow night against Washington. What are your thoughts about the game to come?
It's going to be a real tough game. Jaden Daniels is an incredible talent. Knowing that and seeing the way that he can utilize his footwork to, make plays on his own is terrifying. I do believe that I think Aaron Glenn's probably got some tricks up his sleeve on the defensive side. And when it comes to the offensive side, I have no worries whatsoever. I mean, Ben Johnson is a genius. I'm hoping that he decides to stick around. So Ben Johnson, if you're hearing this, please stick around a little bit longer. Actually, not really, but he's more than well deserving of having his own team at this point. But
teams want him.
Yeah, absolutely. And seeing the excitement around Detroit, like when I go home, I feel like I can't get away from Lions. And even down here, I see quite a bit of Lions apparel and merchandise around, which is super exciting. I never would have thought I've seen that, saying that the team was so not successful over the last 35 years. So it's super, super exciting to see that change and, being able to actually live through it. And like you said, it was the first time we've gotten to the 1 seed. It was the first time we went undefeated on the road. Hopefully it ends with the first Super Bowl, but we'll see.
I see it down here too, by the way. I saw a guy wearing a Lions hoodie at the gym a couple days ago. He said he's going to his first pro game ever, and it's the Lions Commanders game tomorrow night. So I've been seeing the Detroit buzz even down here in Carolina.
Well, I hope he has fun. I'm looking forward to watching tomorrow night. We're going to be rooting for him hard. So
Montgomery coming back.
He is incredible. The Sonic and Knuckles connection between Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery is one of the coolest marketing things I've ever seen. I'm also a big Sonic the Hedgehog fan, so being able to see that now with my team is pretty cool. Seeing the success that it's awesome.
Good luck tomorrow night, Chris.
Thank you.
We have a pep talk segment on this podcast. The best advice you've ever gotten.
The best advice I've ever gotten. So, in terms of professional work, my first sale at Charlotte FC was a gentleman who was the vice president of sales for a company, and he always knew that he was going to get the tickets. Like whether he was talking to me or not, he knew he was getting tickets for him and his son, and he walked me through the sale. So it was kind of weird being able to talk to this gentleman and get to know him and, try to sell him these tickets when he knew in the back of his mind he was going to do it no matter what. But he put me through the ringer and, had objections. He had different questions all the time, just trying to make sure that I was as prepared as I could. And once the sale had closed, he had told me that sales is a habit, not a mistake. And I've taken that through the rest of my career to say that sales don't just stumble upon you. It's the reward of the work that you're putting into a person in their account. So that's something that stuck with me for years. On a personal level, my grandfather was the smartest and nicest man I've ever met. I actually have it tattooed on my shoulder. It's just keep moving forward and forget about it. So no matter what that happened in life, always move forward in the right direction. And if things don't go your way, just roll off your shoulder and forget about it. And the next opportunity will come.
Some great advice right there.
Try to.
Was that first sale that you made, was that your favorite sale you've ever made, you think, or is that something else?
It's up there. I don't think it was my favorite sale.
What's your favorite?
So my favorite sale actually was here. It was last year. It was, oddly enough, it was my first sale with Gastonia. It was a gentleman. His name is Rick. And he came by to the ballpark and we looked around, checked out some different seats. We ended up finding a pair for him and his wife that were awesome. And just throughout the year, he was somebody that would always come up and check up on me. He actually calls me basically every other week just to come say hello and check in. He creates these canes that they're set up like a claw. Like this one's like a turkey talon. And he was showing that to me that day that he made the sale. And then fast forward to September, he actually gave me the cane. And he said that I've got plenty of these. I want you to have this one. This is the one that I showed you when we made the sale. And I keep that in my office to this day. Actually, during all of our parades, I was carrying it around and running around with it the whole time. And having something like that that's so commemorable and remembering what that was like and being able to look at that. If I'm having a bad day or some struggles, I can take a look at that cane and think, okay, I'm making a difference here. And I am making experiences happen for people that they're ecstatic about. So I always look back on that sale, and when I do, I always smile. Shout out Rick.
Shout out Rick. That's really cool. That's really cool that you get to make those personal connections.
Definitely.
Pretty special. A lot of Gastonia fans tuning in right now, of course. What can they look forward to for the 2025 season?
2025 season is going to be awesome. We're getting the roster ready to go. We're finishing up the promotional calendars. We're going to be having a lot of exciting things coming up here soon. I will let everybody know that next Friday, January 24th, we will be opening up sales for single game tickets for the opening weekend. So definitely grab your tickets, and we're excited. We're going to have a lot of fun this year. We're playing on Memorial Day weekend. We got July 4th weekend. So a lot of those big mainstay weekends throughout. And then obviously we know the product on the field is always exciting. So I think that for 2025, Gastonia can expect a lot of entertainment, where you can expect a mascot at the park, which is new from last year. And I think you're going to see an awesome product on the field and hopefully a lot of smiles around the park. We're super excited to get this thing off and kicking off the round. So we're ready to go.
Ready to roll. Chris, once again, your 26th birthday. What's the best birthday gift you've ever gotten?
The best birthday gift I've ever gotten.
Besides coming on the podcast, obviously.
Of course. I would say, this is going to sound so cliche, but when I was like 7 or 8 years old, my grandpa got me a trampoline for my birthday. And this trampoline went through thick and thin with me. I mean, we would play like WWE on the thing with my friends. We would learn how to do our flips and all that good stuff. And I think a lot of that actually took me into one of my first jobs as a teenager. I worked at a trampoline park, and just being able to continue doing that, and how happy he was to like see the smile on his face when I was playing on it. That is a memory that will live on with me forever. For me, it's not necessarily the tangible thing that is appreciative for me. It's more so the thought that goes behind it and the memories that are created within whatever it is. So being able to see how happy it made my grandfather when I would play on the trampoline, I mean, it was awesome.
Would you say that was your favorite birthday because of that?
Yeah, I think so. Obviously, 16th birthday was cool, getting your driver's license. 21st birthday, of course. But definitely, I think that 8th birthday was a highlight. Just being able to, like I said, just share that moment with my grandpa. He is somebody that probably the most influential person in my life that I have. So, being able to see him smile and make him happy was something that's really stuck with me.
Well, Chris, I'm glad you were able to have that special moment. Hopefully plenty of special moments ahead. Maybe tomorrow night in the Lions game.
Hopefully.
We'll see.
Fingers crossed. We're excited. Jared Goff is hopefully going to throw for a good bit of yards, get some good rushing yards, maybe sack the quarterback a little bit on the defensive side, and hopefully walk away with a win.
Chris, best of luck tomorrow. Best of luck in your future endeavors. And once again, happy birthday, man.
Thanks, Noah. Appreciate you having me on. Looking forward to the year, and I'm excited for what's to come.